Yay! So today we're going to be working on snake arms. So snake arms are one of those things that you can really customize to just create your own. And yeah, we have some general guidelines about how to do the movement and how to make it look all fancy schmancy, but it's really important that you understand how to just engage the snake arm and then get into it and out of it how you want to when you're actually dancing versus just drilling, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to activate your snake arm. So you want to think of your snake arm as like an arm undulation. With an undulation, it is one move, then the next, then the next, then the next. It's not, oh, let me just chunk everything together like this, right? And then just start moving. You want to think about one movement is done, then it pings the next one, then it pings the next one. It's kind of like a relay race. This is what I tell my students sometimes, that you can't really do the next movement until the previous movement hands off the baton, right? So you want to think about that. It's one, then the next, then the next, then the next. So the first one I'm going to show you is to not use your shoulders, because you can do snake arms with your shoulders, but I want to show you how to do it without using your shoulders first. So when we're doing it, typically with the snake arm, this arm undulation, you're gonna be either coming up or down. You can actually move in to out, but we don't typically associate that with snake arm. So when you're coming up and down, what I want you to imagine is that your shoulder stays right in place. It doesn't lift, drop, go forward or back. It just settles into where you are right now. So when you're doing this movement, you want to think about lifting from the elbow, and then the wrist, and then the fingertips will follow. So you have this point right here, this point, and then these, right? So when I'm doing this, I'm gonna rotate my elbow forward. So I'm gonna show you from the side what that looks like. I'm gonna rotate this forward without flipping my hand. So if you need to practice this, you're gonna put your hand on a tabletop and then to go and rotate it back and forth. So when I lift my arm up, I'm going to be rotating my elbow up first. So always think about my elbow is pointed in the direction of which it's going. Okay, so I'm going to rotate my elbow up, and then I'm going to lift from my elbow, and as I lift from my elbow, everything kind of follows afterwards. So I'm not lifting my hand. You see how it now comes up? Everything's kind of on a downward slope until my elbow starts to change direction. So I'm going to have elbow, then your wrist, and then your fingertips. And as I do my fingertips, my elbow has already started to rotate down. Okay, so I'm going to have Ringo, elbow, oh my God, elbow, wrist, fingertips, and you'll notice as this comes up, your elbow can only go so high before it starts to go like this, and then it's just not pretty after that point. So you're gonna rotate up, then your wrist, and then your fingertips will come and fall and come up, finish that pathway, and then fall because the elbow is now pulling it down. So really important. You don't want to come like this, because this is what I notice people doing, is they're kind of like doing that movement first, where the fingertips are leading. The fingertips are not leading in this particular snake arm, okay? So the elbow is leading, then followed by the wrist, then followed by the fingertips. So you're gonna have rotate up, the wrist, and then as you're, see, there's a point where it looks like this, you're gonna rotate your elbow down, and then your fingertips come down because it is following the elbow. So I'm gonna show you how the full thing looks, and then we're gonna break it down again. 1 and 2. And 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. And you'll notice I generally, when it comes to the oriental application of snake arm for Egyptian oriental and rock sharky, you're gonna have it mainly around this area where you don't typically come all the way down and then come like this. We don't really do that, right? I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it's not typically done, right? So when you're here, you're gonna keep it at about your bra line area, give or take a hand width underneath that bra line. Okay, so 1 and 2, and 1 and up, lead with the elbow, and 2, start the other side in 3, 2, 1, and rest. Lift your arm up first by the elbow. You'll notice you have this arch, keeping aware that your shoulder isn't going like this, right? So you're gonna lift from the elbow, keeping that shoulder down first, and then lift, wrist, and fingertip as the elbow rotates back down. So remember, the elbow is the one that's gonna drive this motion first and foremost when it's without the shoulder, right? And then everything else follows suit. So elbow, wrist, finger, elbow, wrist, finger, elbow, wrist, finger, elbow, wrist, finger. I always think of it like painting on a wall, right? Paint on, paint off, paint on, paint off. I don't know why I'm doing this bounce, but it's like that from Karate Kid. You know, when he's like wax on, wax off, but we're painting on your fence, right? And your paintbrush, which is your hand, cannot leave. So at any point, if your paintbrush leaves because you're just like bending your hand too far down or bending it too far up, keep your bristles, your fingertips, on your wall. So as you come up and down, you get this nice length in your arm versus this, right? Or even so broken that you start to scoop. A lot of the time that happens too, but it doesn't really emphasize the movement. It doesn't complement it, in my opinion. You can totally do it if you want. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying it doesn't really complement the move if I go like this, because then it looks like I'm a bulldozer holding the thing. That's just my visual when I see that, right? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick up some dirt and then move it over here, right? So I personally, you can do your snake arm how you want, but I personally like the length of the finger tips and the bristles being on the wall. Okay, so we're without the shoulder right now. We're just rotating up and down, rotate up and down, rotate up and down. We're gonna do both arms together. 3, 2, go up first, up and down, and up and down. And when you minimize that range of motion, you'll notice you are less likely to activate your shoulder, because the further you go up, the more that you're gonna wanna do this. So just keep it really small at first until you get that flow and that sequence of movement, yeah? And down, and up, and down, and up, and down. Is your paintbrush still on the wall? We're gonna alternate. So now, as your right arm comes up, your left arm is gonna come down. So you wanna think about like, I don't know, like octopus legs when they're like, raw, like, or sea monster, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just wanna go in opposition. So as one is lifting, one is dropping. So we're gonna take this slow and down. 6, 7, 8, rotate up, 2, 3, rotate other way, 3, 2, 1, and boom. And boom. And boom. And boom. We're gonna go quick, quick, slow. 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 And quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Yes. So when you're doing that movement, you wanna have control over it so it's not just like this, right? Take it slow and remember the sequence. It's an undulation. You don't do your undulations like this, right? We have this beautiful flow of top to bottom or bottom to top, right? When you're doing this movement. So you want to think about it in the same way as going from from in to out. You're going to start with the innermost part of the body that you are looking to engage, and then working your way out. So that being said, we're gonna incorporate the shoulders now, right? So before, we had our shoulders pretty nice and long and away from our ears as we're doing this movement right here. Now, when we add the shoulders in, that is now the innermost body part of which will start our sequence. So when we raise the shoulder, and I'm just raising it up here, that will be the prompt that leads into my elbow. 1, 2, down, 3, 4, lift. 1, 2, down, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, down, 3, 4, and up, 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 and fall, 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 and up, 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 and fall, 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 and up and down. So I'm just doing a little shoulder roll. Hit, la, 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 and down. Ara, ara, da. Other side, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift and drop. But you're gonna keep your neck nice and long. So this is an intentional shoulder lift versus, don't do that. 1, down, lift and down, lift and down. And it's just a slight rotation, right, of my shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You also notice I'm not keeping my arm out to the side. that just feels really weird. It doesn't feel good. So your arms are always going to be just slightly in front of you when you do these snake arms. Have the shoulders, 4, 3, 2, on your right. Here we go. And lift. And then you can decide which one you really like. I tend to see the shoulder one have a bit more range of motion, right? So if you're looking for like a bigger movement, right, you can add more shoulder roll into it. Or if you really just want to keep it subtle, you can take the shoulder out completely. So you get to choose how big or small you want it. Just make sure it matches your musicality in the music, right? And how you're feeling in that moment. So we want to make sure all of it complements each other, because then that's going to be the part where it's like, mwah, sweet spot. Yes. And 4, 3, 2, no shoulders. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest. Woo! Are you getting an arm workout? Maybe. So you will feel a lot of it here. You're gonna make sure to warm up your shoulders beforehand. Make sure you cool down afterwards. Like, give your body some really nice and beautiful stretches and elongate those muscles so it doesn't feel like this, right? When you're doing the movement, because that's not gonna be comfortable either. So when you're practicing this, remember, it's a relay race. Boom, 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 boom. One then the other, just like an arm undulation, just like your body undulation. Take it slow, play with tempo afterwards, and play with whether or not you want to add that shoulder in. Thanks for joining me today.